For 30 years, the hidden backbone of Indian IT was a business mechanism known simply as the bench. It was a unique setup where tens of thousands of software engineers received full salaries every month without being assigned to an active client project. Engineers clocked in, logged on, and waited. To outsiders, paying people to sit idle sounded like terrible business. But for Indian IT majors, the bench was their single greatest competitive superpower. Today, companies are getting rid of it entirely. When TCS dropped over 23,000 employees in a single fiscal year, and Wipro was dropped from the Nifty 50 index, people blamed it for a tech slowdown. But that's not quite right. Over that exact same period, tech employment in India hit an all-time high of 6 million, with global capability centers or GCCs adding over 120,000 high-paying roles. So the jobs aren't disappearing, but the bench is. Generative AI did not just automate basic code. It fundamentally destroyed the financial math behind holding a paid human buffer. It's not yet conclusive to call it a tech recession, but it is the death of the business model that built the modern Indian middle class. To understand why the bench is dying, you have to look at how it functioned as a business mechanism. Starting in the 1990s, Indian IT giants built a multi-billion-dollar industry on a simple promise to Western enterprises: instant execution scale. When a Fortune 500 bank signed a $50 million contract to modernize its enterprise software, they required 200 developers deployed on day one. You cannot recruit 200 specialized software engineers in a single week. To solve this bottleneck, IT exporters created the bench. At any given moment, a firm kept between 10 and 15% of its workforce unassigned in a standby pool. When a new contract was signed, the vendor did not launch a recruitment drive. They drew 200 engineers off the bench and placed them onto the client account within days. This setup was powered by the billable hour model. Clients were billed per developer per hour, typically $40 to $80 an hour. Because the profit margins on active client billing were sitting at 25 to 30%, the revenue generated by active engineers easily covered the overhead costs of paying bench workers to wait on standby. Now, the bench acted as a paid human buffer. It allowed IT majors to function like software utilities, maintaining excess human capacity so they could capture global demand whenever a client turned on the tap. For generations of software engineers, the bench was an implicit safety net. If a project ended, you were not fired. You were placed back on the bench for 3, 6, or even 9 months while internal managers looked for your next assignment. The entire system rested on one core economic premise: more human headcount meant more billable hours, which meant higher total revenue. And AI destroyed that equation. Now, AI did not eliminate the bench by replacing every developer overnight. It eliminated the bench by systematically destroying the 3 operational mechanics that made holding excess human capacity profitable. First, AI dropped deployment lead times to 0. In the pre-AI era, assembling a team to map, refactor, and test millions of lines of legacy mainframe code required weeks of human preparation. Today, autonomous software agents and specialized code discovery tools perform that initial discovery, syntax, translation, and test case generation in minutes. When AI handles the setup infrastructure, the requirement to deploy a 200-person human buffer on day one disappears. Clients no longer demand massive teams upfront. They demand lean squads equipped with automated tools. Because setup time dropped to 0, the need to keep thousands of workers waiting on standby disappeared. Second, AI created the effort penalty. This is where the billable hour model breaks completely. Under traditional outsourcing, if a team spent 100 hours updating database schemas or running manual tests, the vendor billed the client for 100 hours of manual labor. When developers use AI coding assistance, that same task takes 15 hours. If an IT firm continues billing by the hour, its revenue on that contract instantly drops by 85%. To survive this compression, clients are forcing IT exporters away from time and materials contracts and into outcome-based pricing. The client pays a fixed fee for the final result, regardless of how many hours or humans were used. Once contract pricing is fixed, the financial incentive inverts. Under billable hours, having a massive workforce and a large bench was profitable. Under fixed outcome-based pricing, every extra employee and every idle bench worker is a direct subtraction from the company's profit margin. Holding a paid human buffer transformed overnight from a competitive asset into a direct margin-killing liability. TCS booked over 1,388 crore rupees in restructuring provisions in a single fiscal year, specifically to trim this excess layer. Third, AI automated the bench management apparatus. Operating the bench required a massive middle management layer. Thousands of delivery managers, resource allocation leads, and operations directors spent their careers tracking schedules, assessing skill matrices, and manually routing bench workers onto active accounts. Internal enterprise resource systems powered by predictive algorithms now handle this allocation automatically. They track project burn rates and map developer skill sets directly to incoming project requirements without human intervention. So the manual management layer that existed solely to operate the bench became obsolete alongside the bench itself. So this operational shift explains the strange paradox sitting inside current corporate financial disclosures. TCS reduced its net headcount by over 23,000 employees in a single fiscal year. Yet, over that exact same period, it onboarded over 40,000 university freshers. If an IT giant is aggressively cutting personnel to protect margins, why continue hiring tens of thousands of fresh graduates? Because IT majors are executing a systematic workforce replacement. They're purging the mid-level delivery layer while rebuilding their base around a completely different talent structure. For 30 years, career progression in Indian IT followed a linear pyramid. An engineer spent 2 years doing manual testing, became a team lead, moved up to module lead, and eventually became a delivery manager overseeing bench routing and billable hours. That middle layer of the pyramid, the project supervisors, manual delivery managers, and resource allocators, was built strictly to manage human scale. They were not wiring core system architecture, nor were they building proprietary algorithms. They were managing the flow of billable human hours. And now AI agents render that entire middle management layer redundant. As a result, IT exporters are shedding mid-tier managers who carry high salaries but add little technical value in an automated workflow. In their place, companies are bringing in campus freshers who are trained from day one to write code alongside AI assistants. So the new corporate structure is no longer a massive pyramid with a heavy bench at the bottom. It has pretty much become a lean structure. A small layer of senior system architects at the top, zero mid-tier process managers in the middle, and a base of AI-native junior engineers who execute work using automated tools. Freshers are significantly cheaper, easier to train on AI tooling, and carry none of the expectations of the old billable hour model. Net headcount drops because one senior architect using AI tools oversees the volume of work that previously required 3 middle managers and 5 bench workers. The final question remains, is the technology sector in India actually shrinking? The data says no. Total Indian tech employment reached an all-time high of nearly 6 million people. What we're witnessing is the great separation, the decoupling of Indian software talent from traditional third-party outsourcing vendors. For over 3 decades, if a Fortune 500 company wanted access to Indian engineering talent, it had to pay a third-party IT service exporter. The exporter acted as the sole gatekeeper, charging a heavy markup to cover its corporate overhead and its bench. Today, like I mentioned, global enterprises are cutting out the middlemen. Over 2,100 global capability centers, that is GCCs, now operate directly on Indian soil. Western banks, healthcare giants, retail platforms, and automotive manufacturers are establishing their own internal technology hubs in Indian cities. These GCCs are not setting up back-office support units. They're building core product teams, proprietary AI models, and cloud infrastructure directly. And because these enterprises own their engineering centers, they do not operate on a billable hour business model. They do not need a third-party vendor's bench. They hire senior software architects, machine learning engineers, and platform specialists directly onto their own internal payrolls, offering 20 to 30% higher compensation packages than traditional IT service providers. While traditional IT exporters cut net headcount by tens of thousands, GCCs in India added over 120,000 engineering roles over the exact same period. The capital, the talent, and the high-margin technical work did not leave India. They in fact migrated from third-party IT vendors to direct enterprise payrolls. Wipro's removal from the Nifty 50 index is the symbolic capstone of this transition. Stock markets recognize that generating revenue by adding billable headcount is no longer a high-margin growth engine. Capital is flowing toward entities that own intellectual property, operate direct platforms, or execute non-commoditized technical development. The era of Indian IT built on mass headcount, linear billable hours, and the safety net of the paid bench has officially come to an end. It's pretty obvious that the future belongs to lean execution, direct ownership, and automated scale. Honestly, that was probably always the case, but it's more prominent now than ever before. If you learned a thing or two from this episode, make sure to subscribe to Tech Brew with Vandana Nair for more such deep dives. And I'll see you in the next one.